Yasmin ma'am, Professor Asiya has joined.
Okay, sir. May I know who is this? Is it Mr.
Myself.
Hello, madam. Assalamu alaikum, madam.
Walaikum
So
salam.
you are beginning the session, madam, today.
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum, Professor Asiya. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, Faiza. Walaikum salam. How are you?
Yeah, and
Uh,
Doctor, I'm good, and I have to thank you so much for this session. This was
okay.
such an SOS, and you came to our rescue. Professor Sajid Jamal has been telling me everything that went into. You have a meeting at 5 o'clock, and thank you so much.
Exactly. No, actually, what happened? My session was at 5:30, and I was relaxed. I was in a meeting at ICC at 2 o'clock, where I got the call from VC office for 5. So I thought maybe we can do something. So
I can,
Samina ka se excuse karke bhag ke aayi hu. So it's a
I,
pleasure, and thank you so much for adjusting with me at the 11th hour. Thank you so much.
thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
You're most
Thank you, Dr.
welcome.
Asia, from our end too, for
Yeah.
joining.
So, my dear participants, good evening. We have with us our very valuable resource person, Professor Asiya Choudhary, and she's from the Department of Commerce. She has joined you to speak to you on entrepreneurship. And we have with us Dr. Yasmin Heather from the B.S. Abdul Rahman University. Uh, if not all, then we will see that most of the participants are from this university. And Dr. Yasmin has been kind enough to agree to coordinate this course with Professor Sajid Jamal, who is the program coordinator for this. So, my dear participants, I will not keep you long from your resource person because I know we are already late by 5-10 minutes. So, this course on NEP orientation sensitization is planned for all the higher education faculty to be abreast with the changes, the transformational value of the national education policy, especially for the higher education sector. We are going to take up topics like Professor Asya will be speaking to you on entrepreneurship. Dr. Yasmin, can you please mute yourself?
Yes.
Thank you. So, like Professor Asiya will be speaking to us on entrepreneurship. Similarly, there will be lectures on higher education and society, on academic leadership, governance and management, on Indian knowledge system, on the role of ICT in re-envisioning the 21st century classroom, research and development, and we have extremely eminent resource persons with us to speak to you. Say, for example, one of these days, Dr. Shakila Shamsu will be talking to you, and who else will be better than her to speak on NEP? Because when the Ministry of Education, the then Ministry of HRD, was in the process of drafting this very important vision document, then there was a committee headed by Professor Rajan, and Professor Dr. Shakila Shamsu was the OSD of this committee. So I would love it to be very interactive, to be also from your side. I would expect regularity, I will expect punctuality, and I will expect a good number of participants all the time. Today there will be one MCQ, and then on the last day also there will be another MCQ. You will get your certificates digitally after you have given your responses to us on the drafts that we circulate for your correct names and spellings and affiliations, but only if you have submitted both your assignments. You're also being marked by your coordinator, Dr. Yasmin, for your punctuality and regularity. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank her for her forthcomingness in agreeing to collaborate with us and to coordinate this course. You will be seeing a lot of her in every session and on every day. And today the second session will be of Professor Sajid Jamal. So participants, welcome to the Aligarh Muslim University, one of the top 10 universities of the country, and welcome to the UGC, MMTTC, erstwhile HRDC, the top 2 HRDC of the country. I hope we live up to your expectations, and I hope your expectations are met I hope you learn about NEP, and I hope you are able to cooperate and contribute to the development of India as a Vishwa Guru after learning about NEP. I'm so glad Professor Asiya has joined us. She is not just a professor of commerce, she is also provost of the largest hall of girls in the university, an opportunity that she is availing of very smoothly. And Professor Asiya, by her own token, by her own interest, developed this program called SURE, which is for entrepreneurship development. And by now, through several rounds of this program, she has taught skills of startups and unicorns and being self-employed to the underprivileged. So I think kudos to her, and I think you're going to learn a lot with her. So thank you, Professor Asiya, for joining us. Once again, welcome all the participants, and thank you, Dr. Yasmin. So it's over to you all for a very enriching, for a very smooth learning experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Faiza, for being so humble and, defining things in such a beautiful way as usual, I would say. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Faiza, and thank you, Dr. Asiya, for being here. Thank you so much. Yeah, we will just move on to our first session straight away. On to Dr. Asiya.
Thank you so much, Dr. Yasmin. So I would start my session, which is detailing about entrepreneurship and how this entrepreneurship is very important these days, becoming so important with the passage of time. And why is it becoming so important that it has been made a very, very important part of the syllabus curriculum. And it has been in a way or some way or the other, it is going to be inducted into our academics as a very, very experiential learning. So I'll share some insights. So my session will be based on, just excuse me. I'll just share my screen with you. Give me a moment, please. Okay, so my session is here to share with you. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. Okay, so it is the training as an entrepreneur, that how is it or why is it important that entrepreneurship is gaining such importance these days, and how is it entrepreneurship is a solution to so many existing problems. For example, unemployment, for example, economic growth, etc., etc. So,
The
okay.
screen, the screen has to be made big. Sorry for the interruption. Maximize that.
A minute. I think this is telling something infinity mirror.
You just have to go to that slide. You don't bother
Is it
about
okay
that.
now? Is it okay now?
No, actually, we are able to see the screen, but it has to only the screen should
Okay,
be seen.
it has to be maximized, but then I think I'll be losing the view of this
Okay, right. Please go ahead. Please
I
go ahead.
think it needs to go on like this only. हाँ, थोड़ा सा उसमें मसला क्या है कि वो फिर कुछ और नहीं वो कर सकते हैं, फिर एक बार स्क्रीन आपका पूरा आ जाएगा तो. So anyway, so let us come back to the session. That is actually my session. In this, we'll be discussing things in three parts. That is, first we will understand what an entrepreneurship is. And in the second part will explain us that how is entrepreneurship so important in the contemporary world, especially in reference to our country, India, where we have to solve the burgeoning issue of unemployment, and what the government is doing in order to solve this problem, and how entrepreneurship is thought of to be one of the best solution to solve this problem, and what can be done at an university platform or at the college platform, what we as teachers, we as academician can contribute in this drive that has been started by the government with full swing. So first, understanding what an entrepreneurship is. So how do I explain entrepreneurship is actually, if you just open the books of economics or commerce, you will find that entrepreneurship is actually it is bringing all the factors of production together. For example, the land, the labor, the raw material, and anything that is required to produce some goods or service, and putting them together. And we produce a good and service, and then we present it into the market. That is what an entrepreneurship means. And then, obviously, with the objective of earning profit, certain amount of profit. But what I say that entrepreneurship, or who an entrepreneur is, first let us understand. I think an entrepreneur is a true researcher. In what sense? He is a true researcher in the sense that he identifies the problem first. He moves around into the society. He is like human being like all of us, but he has a different view where he identifies what are the problems, what are the gaps existing, and what should be the solution to this problem. Should it be solved by making a product or by providing a service, whatever it is. So an entrepreneur is a person who is the first one who just looks into the society, looks into things, and he looks around in his daily routine of life. He identifies the problem or the gap that is existing, and then he tries to work on that, how he can produce a solution to this, maybe in terms of goods and services. And this solution is maybe prepared by him by bringing all the factors of production together. At the same time, he also arranges, for example, the raw material. He arranges all the technology that is required. These days, we call it maybe AI required for his business, the intellectuals that are required. He brings in money. He brings in financial liquidity into the business, and then he assembles everything together and he produces something and presents or places it into the market. And when he is placing this into the market, there is no guarantee that this product will be sold. कोई इस बात की guarantee नहीं होती है, because it is the consumers, whether they need that product or not, whether he will be able to capture the demand in the market or not, that is not sure. And so what happens is that he takes the risks also. He takes the social risk, he takes the financial risk, he takes all kinds of risk, because and after that, if it clicks, he earns profit. The reward that he gets in return is the monetary profit, and as well as his personal satisfaction, his personal independence, I should say, because entrepreneur is a person. We cannot force them to be entrepreneurs. They are entrepreneurs by wish. They are born. They are talented for that domain. But at the same time, if anybody wants to choose it or opt it as a career option, then they can always go for it. We'll learn how in the later slides. So this is what an entrepreneurship is. That is a very comprehensive explanation, can be bringing all the factors of production together. But before doing that, we have to look at the problems that needs a solution, that needs to be addressed. It may be a washing powder, it may be a talcum powder, it may be a hair wash, whatever. It may be a software, it may be any kind of services. So entrepreneur is taking lots of risk, but and at the same time, what I will say that these days government is promoting a lot on entrepreneurship. It is talking a lot on entrepreneurship, maybe because of the burgeoning unemployment, because we need more job givers in the society instead of so many job seekers. Majority are, they are job seekers. So, but if everybody becomes a job seeker, who will give the job? So we need the job providers. And then there are lots and lots of entrepreneurial brain in the country. What is happening? There are some data provided by the World Bank. If you just go back and check, we find that India is very rich in entrepreneurial brains and entrepreneurial, talents. But after some time, they just they are going into services, or maybe if they are diverted to some other career options, which they feel that it is more secure, because risk is an important component which everybody is not willing to take. So now the government wants that, no, let us provide a platform in order to provide some skills, and we can evolve entrepreneurs in the society so that we have more job givers or job providers. And because these entrepreneurs, they become so important to the economy. They are so important because these are the people who are not only coming out with creative ideas. They are not only coming out with creative solutions with products and services, they are also creating employment, as I've already said. Then they go for, talent explosion. That is, every person who is qualified, who is maybe an expert in some or the other, for example, engineering students or medical students, where do they provide a service? They go and provide a service to an industrialist. So who explores their talents, who uses their services? It is an entrepreneur. So it is also one of the very important contribution of an entrepreneur, because they utilize the knowledge, the services of such learners. They are, or maybe degree holders, who are produced in the economy in thousands and thousands every year. They promote, trade and business in the economy, with the help of which there is more flow of fund, there is more flow of, I should say, liquidity into the Indian market. There is a demand, they play with demand and supply for goods. They bring in new technology. They are they are the people who try to connect all the forces together in return for a certain amount of money, that is called profits. And they bring in money. They promote the trade and growth, and obviously finally they lead to wealth creation in an economy. Because with the new investments and more international currency and local currency, more flow in the market, more competition, more services, they develop a very strong talent pool. And they, in a way, by generating employment and income and investment, they also help in improving the standard of living, the quality of life of people in living in any country or in any economy. And therefore we can say that yes, they help in creating the wealth. They help in economic development of any economy. So I hope the concept of entrepreneurship is clear to all, and how these entrepreneurs are such an important and a strong tool for any economy. I hope this is clear. This was the first part. Now let us come to understand the second part, that is a bit, away from entrepreneurship, which says that what is the population and job scenario in the country. So let us come to that. That is, today we find that India, it is standing with the biggest population, and with the total of whose total biggest population of the world, it constitutes of 65% of Indians who are the youth population. They are the most dynamic, proportion of our total population. They are, why do we call them dynamic? Because they belong to the age of 30, 35. 35, so ye young India hai majorly we are the youth who is present in majority, and we call them dynamic young population or dynamic youth because they are the most energetic and productive section of any society. They are, they have, it is a country's ability and potential for growth. They are determined by the size of its youth, of its workforce, because these youth are the workforce, isn't it? The 30 से 35 ईयर के जो लोग होते हैं वो काम करने के लिए तैयार हो चुके होते हैं मार्केट के लिए, and till the age of 60 to 65 they keep working. तो एक जो 30 years का एक bracket होता है, that is most useful and of utility. So it means that, this a vast resource of young citizens entering the workforce, they have created a demographic dividend presently, which means that economic growth resulting from the population's age structure shift. It calls for an economic trigger when a country has more hands to, work. More hands are available to work than more in comparison to the mouths which are to be fed. Now, more hands to work here, it means that 65% of the population is the workforce. तो वो दो हाथ जो है वो ज्यादा, and 35% जो remaining है वो dependent population है, that is maybe the retired people and maybe the students who are not earning anything. तो यहाँ पे जो है ये वाली जो force है, they are the mouth to be fed. That is maybe in terms of pension, maybe in terms of scholarship, maybe in terms of free medication, maybe in terms of free schooling, etc. etc. तो ये पोर्शन आधे से कम, आधा है, मतलब ऑलमोस्ट अगर 65 का आधा लेते तो इट इज अप्रोक्सीमेटली अपना 35% के आसपास है. दैट इज द स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ इंडिया टुडे. Today's young generation, because they are tomorrow's innovators, they are creators, tomorrow builders, tomorrow's leaders, etc., etc. And so, in spite of this very rosy picture of Indian, population or demography, at the same time, we find a large, excuse me, I'll have water. So, in spite of such a strong, picture of our country, demographic structure of our country, we still find a high level of unemployment. It said that if we compare unemployment level was as high as 28.26% in 2021 in comparison to just 23% in 2018. तो 3-4 साल में बहुत स्पीड से unemployment बढ़ी है, and presently the data is still quite high. But it is so ironical that India witnessed a substantial expansion in the higher education in the previous years, in the recent years. इसी वजह से, because so many multiple number of colleges and universities have opened in the recent years. Enrollment number जो GER है वो improve हुआ है by 7.9% in the higher secondary education in the recent years, past few years. In spite of that, और ये सब बढ़ने के बाद भी unemployment अगर है तो it's a big irony for the country that a country with such a strong demographic structure, with such educated, that with lot, because they are enrolled and they're getting degrees, so वो इतने qualifications के बाद, qualified proportion के बाद भी unemployment क्यों है? It says that some of the data which I picked from FICCI, it summarized that the state of higher education is something like this, that although India's higher education system, they contribute about 350,000 engineers approximately every year, and 2.5 million university graduates annually to our workforce. At any given time, about 5 billion, but at the same time, इतने निकलने के बाद, पढ़ने के बाद, still we find that approximately more than 5 million graduates, they remain unemployment. और इसमें बहुत सारा homework हुआ. Do you agree with this, with the data which I am sharing with you, that such a big number is remaining unemployed? Do you agree with me? Yes or no, please?
Yes, madam.
Yeah,
Yes,
definitely.
The picture is quite bleak, and
Yes,
therefore,
ma'am.
and what I just went through some of the literature, which I analyzed that the main reason is our education system. Because they said that ठीक है, बहुत सारे colleges और university खुल रहे हैं, उतनी degree भी मिल रही है लोगों को, उतने ही enrollment भी हो रहे हैं. लेकिन they say that maybe they say some of the literature they analyze that there is a mismatch between education and the jobs that are available at macro level, as maybe over education. Because when the supply of educated workers, they sometimes they're often much more than the demand in the labor market, leading to maybe reduction in the wages and salary. They have to compromise because job scenario is not very bright these days. लोग पढ़ रहे हैं, डिग्री मिल रही है, लेकिन jobs available नहीं है. So, but there is also something else that has been mentioned, and they say that और भी literature जब मैंने explore करी, I found out कि actually there are three kinds of mismatch that maybe that is found in our society or in our economy. That is, first is your over education. That is, at the individual level, over education can be defined as a form of skill gap where overqualified people with their tertiary education, maybe they are hired for jobs that do not require that high degree, that big degree or big qualification. और वजह ये है कि एक पोस्ट है और उसमें 100 एप्लीकेंट है, तो ऑब्वियसली सबसे आसान क्राइटेरिया क्या होता है, उनकी डिग्रीज के बेसिस पे, उनकी मार्कशीट के बेसिस पे उनको हम थ्रू एंड थ्रू उसको हम फिल्टर कर सकते हैं और शॉर्टकट कर सकते हैं. एंड बिकॉज दिस ओवर सप्लाई, क्योंकि इतने लोग पढ़ लिख के निकल रहे हैं, इतनी ज्यादा अवेयरनेस हो गई है, लेकिन जॉब सिनेरियो उतना मार्केट में अवेलेबल नहीं है. तो ये बहुत ही इजी स्क्रीनिंग डिवाइस है दैट यू जस्ट चेक आउट कि हाँ भाई सबसे ज्यादा डिग्री जिनके पास है उनको फिल्टर कर लीजिए. उसके बाद
Dr. Asiya, sorry to disturb you, I'm so sorry. Just a
Yes.
humble request that many people in the group, if they have joined from our institution, may not understand Hindi.
Okay, okay. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
In the previous sessions, actually, we always had people who preferred mixed language. Thank you for helping me in this. Thank you.
It's Tamil Nadu. It's Tamil Nadu, so a couple of people may not understand.
Okay,
That is
okay. Okay. So I'll
Sorry.
make it a point, sir. No, thank you so much for helping me out in this.
Yeah.
So it is, because of this oversupply of qualified people and maybe I should say not such a good picture in the market, labor market, or maybe required. Therefore, for example, maybe we often find that a postgraduate person who is in economics maybe or in commerce, he is hired as a bus driver or maybe a taxi driver. We find so many real cases in metropolitans and big cities that people with big degrees, maybe PhDs also, they compromise by becoming, maybe accepting the job offer of a supervisor in a factory. So this is your over education. Maybe that is one of the factors that is there existing in the country. Second is the skill mismatch. Skill mismatch in technical education, where people who have received their higher education in technical fields may be very specific to some domain. For example, maybe a person is technically qualified in agriculture, or maybe he's an engineer, or maybe he is in technology, but he compromises and he joins the jobs where such specialized knowledge was not required. Maybe because, for example, an agricultural scientist, he is appointed as a director of some firm. Maybe he's getting good pay as a director, but maybe he is not satisfied because he has been studying for being an agricultural scientist. This skill mismatch is existing to a large extent, and therefore it creates a sort of disturbance or maybe imbalance between the job and the people who are looking for job. Because they keep on as a compromise, they catch on to that job, but they keep on exploring for something that suits them better. And the third is quality skill gap. In quality skill gap is when the firms, they are hiring for job that require the person with tertiary education, they complain that that particular quality or skill is not adequate with that person. For example, suppose a person who has passed out in commerce, he studies for 3 years or 4 years to get his degree of bachelor. Now he wants to work as an accountant. So in the 4 years or 3 years, he has been studying all the multiple subjects, but he was not, and it was all theoretical based, because all the education system that is available, it majorly is not practical or experiential learning. It is, you are learning from the books, you're learning your lessons, then you are appearing for the exams and you're pouring out your knowledge. So there is no experiential training or maybe practical training to the person for accountant. Now, what is happening actually, I hope all of you must be aware of this also, that any companies who are hiring you or hiring a fresher, they want them to be already done with 2 or 3 refresher courses or maybe 2 or 3 internship programs. Why? Because they want to check that, okay, it is okay that you are with your degrees, you have the theoretical knowledge, your concepts are very clear, but at the same time, we are more interested if you are also capable of doing the work, in actual, practically. We are not going to waste our 6 month salary on you, on training you again, training you. We maybe 1 month is okay, but not more than 1 month. So these days, most of the companies, especially the good companies, they hire the people who already have done few internships. Where now in the new education policy, obviously it has been included at an exhaustive level, that the practical training, vocational training, skill programs, they are given more emphasis and a student has to attend or participate in them. Whereas prior to this, it was not there. And therefore, we found that there was quality skill gap because he has not worked in that area. Uh, for example, as I told you, that the person graduating in commerce, if he is to be trained, for firms accounting practices, if he's hired as an accountant in that company or in that firm. So these are the 3 broad skill mismatches that are there. At the same time, we are witnessing one more thing in the society, in the economy, that is the jobless growth. In spite that economy is growing at maybe during the recent year approximately around 7%, but the jobless growth, it is becoming more and more prominent. Now, what is jobless growth? Jobless growth is when a person who is properly qualified, he or she has proper degrees, but then when he is looking for a job, he's not getting any. So now what happens, that he decides that he'll work by himself, for himself, and whatever or whoever will be purchasing his services, whatever he gets, he will take it as his source of income. For example, you did mass comm, you did journalism from an excellent institute, and now you're hunting for a job and there is no job available. So you said, okay, then I become a freelancer. Now, as a freelancer, you are going to place from place to place just to collect the news and and then you develop the articles or you develop the news pieces, and then you get an approach to other newspapers or maybe medias, for whomever you have prepared, maybe newspapers or maybe television, whatever, and there you go and sell your piece of what you have worked, or it can be freelancing also. So this is called jobless growth. That is, you are qualified, you are earning, but in a very struggling way. There is no surety or regularity or maybe consistency in doing that kind of work. So here there is so many issues that can be seen all around, and we find that um, On survey, it is also found that approximately 70% of our workforce is still engaged in informal or unorganized sector, including maybe the self-employment and micro, small, and medium enterprises. That is called MSMEs, They do not provide a very stable and assured platform. And see, this unorganized, it's not that government is not doing anything. Government is working very hard. There are so many schemes that has been launched in order to support these people who want to start their own business. For example, the Skill India Mission. Maybe next scheme is National Skill Development Mission, then Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. These schemes are launched in order to help people, all those who can start their own business. They do go into for starting a new business, but it is up to some extent they may be they are not successful, or they cannot penetrate forcefully into the market, and therefore they are coming back, and all those issues are there. We find a huge number of unemployment in the economy, in spite of all these efforts that has been put by the government. So we can see that the problem is quite huge, the problem is quite colossal, and it cannot be overlooked, it cannot be ignored. Here, I think what a big question that comes to my mind is that when we pondered on the skill mismatch, or the mismatch between the labor market and the education system, I find that somewhere or the other, the quality and the pedagogy of our primary and higher education system, and the quality of technical and vocational education and training, system infrastructure, that is, they are responsible for this. Because I think the general education system is too focused on grades and careers instead of being oriented towards innovation or entrepreneurship. This is something which, and something we have been witnessing since years, and now when the things have, and that is the reason, that is the reason that people are now accumulating, toward and they want to go for service sector only because they feel that it is more secure, it is more safe, and at least we are getting something consistently. But then there are no service producers there in the market. So this education system has to be remodeled or restructured in such a way so that we meet or we match the demand or the requirement of the market. So this was the second part, where we understood that how this in Indian economy, how in spite of rich demographic structure, in spite of rich educational infrastructure also, people are still unemployed, and what could be the reason if we just study those reasons in reference to our education system. This was there. Now let us come to the third part, and the third part talks about what the government is doing. I have been saying again and again that government is making big efforts. So government, yes, they are truly making good efforts so that we can divert some of our population towards becoming an entrepreneur. And they, in order to promote this, in order to make it more, more prominent, they have taken initiatives to promote it by first focusing on the three areas. That is, first is simplification and handholding, where all the procedures are tried to be made as far simple as possible. There is a hand-holding facility provided. That is, the hand-holding means that whatever help you need as an amateur or as a new entrant into the entrepreneurial market, we will help you with the senior people, with the senior person who are already established. The second is funding support and incentive. Yes, lots of schemes have been provided for maybe free education system, maybe free financial system, maybe free interest loan with free interest, etc., etc. And then the third is your industry, academia, partnership, and incubation. That is, they are promoting at every university and college level. They are trying to bring in incubation centers, the innovation centers, so that the students who are interested in going for or selecting the entrepreneurship as a career option, they can be easily, trained with that. So this is how we can summarize the three activities of the government in this way. That is your handholding, maybe in terms of legal formalities, because if you just check back, if you just check few years back, uh, nothing was online. Now they have shifted everything online. For example, all the registration process, it has to be done with a click of button. Otherwise, previously what happened, you had to go to the offices. The system was very bureaucratic. They have made them simple now. And there you had to stand in queues and waiting, and then you have to move from one table to another, one officer to another. So these things have been done away with. They have been simplified. They have been, filtered, and the number of formalities have been reduced down to fewer number. There are IPRs, that is intellectual property rights, that have been made more flexible and more strict, so that people do not cheat upon you in the market. Then there is an exit process is also being simplified. Funding of here we can find that SIDBI or other banking institutions which belong to the government sector, they have made their loan facility easy and simplified. There are credit guarantee scheme, there are tax exemptions or tax holidays which are provided. And this is but we are not bothered about this, because it's not in our control. We cannot, but third part is there where it is our concern, in fact. That is, the government is promoting the industry and academia partnership. Industry and academia partnership here, we find that the industry people are now given an opportunity to get attached to university platforms or colleges, maybe as a visitor fellow, as a visitor professor, so that their experiences, their rich experiences, their rich learnings in the life as an entrepreneur should be shared with the students, so that the students also get motivated that yes, I can also do, when this person is standing before me, can perform in such a way and is running such a great business. So it's not only this, they are also promoting incubation and innovation centers in all the universities, where you have to, what is an incubator? What is an incubator? Incubator is a small machine sort of thing where a newly born kid is placed for a few days, or maybe if required for 1 or 2 months, in order to make him more strong before he is left out to the world. Similarly, these innovation and incubation center, they facilitate the strengthening of the fresh idea of the students. So they are also promoted. More and more centers are established. Government is providing a strong financial aid also to these centers. They are also giving the university funds for startup competitions, for maybe some sort of fete or fair, where you can invite students who are inclined toward entrepreneurship. You can motivate them. Maybe if they are selected, then maybe their ideas can be funded. There are startup fests that are organized. There are startup competitions that are organized at university level, which can be funded by the government body. So this way, through university, because see, why university student? Because university students are the students who are standing on the threshold of earning their livelihood. This is the last threshold. Now, after this year, I'm getting my degree and then I'm going to earn my living. This is the attitude, isn't it? So there are the products which is getting ready for the market in order to provide his services or provide his goods. So when a person who is getting ready, for the market, in order to produce the goods and services, or in order to trade with the economy, with the society, that needs to be nurtured. That the student needs to be supported. Maybe because previously, when there was no incubators in university, except there were incubators, I won't say not, but I'm not saying that all the universities do not have. It is the technical universities, the IITs, IITs, IIMs, they do have. But what about the other general central government or state government colleges? There are, either they are not there. If they are there, they are not functioning to their 100% utility, etc., etc. But now government is emphasizing on that, no, you must you must focus on the candidates who want to become an entrepreneur, and they, or maybe not only one, but if you see as a teacher the potential in him to become an entrepreneur, you go and help him. So that means that it is, entrepreneurship is a sort of soft skill. It can be a science, it can be an art, but I call it, it is a blend of both. Some proportion it is science, and when we are implementing it in the real life, we are working, we are exploring the market, we are meeting different people. At that time, it becomes, an art. But at large, what I presume is that it is a soft skill. Entrepreneurship can be a soft skill that can be learned by people, that can be evolved or developed by the people if they want to become an entrepreneur. But at the same time, it is not only learning the soft skill of entrepreneurship, but at the same time, they should have a command on the product or services that they are producing. Because until unless you have command on the product, you do not excel on your product or services, you cannot penetrate into the market. An entrepreneur's unique feature is that is he always has, he or she always has a very unique idea which has to be implemented into the market, and which has to, whether it clicks or not, there is no certainty. So product is most important component, product or service that he needs to trade upon, or on which he has to work upon. But at the same time, that is more important. But at the same time, developing or learning this, how to become an entrepreneur, how to put your product into the market, that is also equally important. For example, suppose if you are an engineering student and you are working very good in your lab, you have produced very good maybe goods or services, or maybe products in your labs. Now, unless your product sees the daylight of market, that is, somebody comes and purchases it or consumes it, and you get your return back, that is the moment of satisfaction that you are getting. Otherwise, if it is not sold off, what is the benefit if you do not put it into the market? So you have to learn this as a soft skill in order to become a good entrepreneur. Now, what we have been discussing here is that it's okay that entrepreneurship is a skill that can be evolved. Why? How do we do that? Do we start at colleges level? Do we start at university level, or should we still wait for others to, push back and let the problem get more and more deteriorated of unemployment, and then we invite the people to become entrepreneur? No, I think while we are investing, in human capital, which is very important, no doubt, with large number of colleges and education systems available in the country, investment in human capital, they are very important to realizing the sustained economic growth, higher technical and vocational skills, and they can improve the competitiveness of economies and contribute to the social inclusion and productivity, decent employment for all, and poverty reduction. So that is the reason why we need to have a better, sorry, not better, but we need an improvement in our education system. And here, higher education, it awaits a revolution. Really, truly, honestly, I tell you, it awaits a revolution that is tap them when they are young. Because and for this, what I say always, that the skill deficit in India, it requires a policy framework. I'll just tell you, why I call it, because I've given sufficient reason that higher education is a threshold where they need to be trained. So at this level now, all the bookish knowledge, all the conceptual knowledge has been learned till maybe class 12th or undergraduation. But once you're on the threshold, I think more practical and experiential learning needs to be included for those who want to go for entrepreneurship. Because I think we can say the skill deficit in India, it requires a policy and institutional framework, which is based on a partnership between the government, the industry, the providers of educational and training services, that is your university and colleges, and the civil society. We need a very strong partnership between them. And partnership in what sense? Partnership in what sense? That is, it is a loop, you see, and we have to contribute and coordinate with each other in order to make this loop a complete loop. In this partnership, I think civil society is the most important part, because all the mental changes, adaptability, all these things come from the society. It starts from the creeping out from the society. For example, we all are teachers here, I'm sure about it. All of us have kids, most of us have kids, maybe, and we are rearing up those kids. Now, when they start going to school, what is the counseling that usually parents start with? Okay, now see, son or daughter, you are admitted in a very good school, one of the best in your city. You study very hard, you work very hard, and you become an engineer, or you become a doctor, or you become a maybe lawyer. I don't think that hardly any one of us means, I'm not saying it is 0%, but yes, maybe only 10 to 15% of parents, they say that, okay, you will be becoming an entrepreneur. It's a very, very rare phenomena that is found. And until this mindset changes in the civil society, that no, all the options are equally important for you. You can be a civil servant, you can be a doctor, you can be an engineer, you can be anybody, you can also be an entrepreneur. So child, when you're studying, you study well and keep all your options open for yourself until you can decide for yourself. And therefore, this partnership, why is industry important? We need people from industry to come and provide this soft skill to the student. Therefore, they are important. So universities and colleges, since the other threshold has already set to youth to enter the employment market, important steps need to be taken, which is, and policies are being framed. And one of the best example is that a new education policy, which has included the practical training part, the skill skill development and vocational training, etc., etc. In higher education, one thing is very important, which I always feel it is the necessity of the day, that is to blend the theoretical knowledge and the practical, learning. For example, maybe in the last semesters, everywhere the education or maybe subjects or papers should be removed completely. They should be given only and only in whatever subject they are, in whatever college they are. They should be given to do some project work, though many of the universities are providing that, but many of them are doing it in a theoretical way. That is okay. We are giving you dissertation, we are giving you uh, internship, we are sending you for 2 months for internship, we are allowing you to join a job. But are they practically, in reality, are they executing that thing? I remember some of the students for the summer training report, they are supposed to be going during the summer vacation in the PG classes last semester to be working with some firms or organization. They are supposed to be working with them. They go there, they go, maybe if they have to work for 2 months, they go there for a week and they just get it ready-made, from YouTube or from online. They just collect the material and then they just produce the project report, which is very, very damaging for the students. So we have to make our policies in such a way so that when the student, they are asked to go for practical learning, they do it. And maybe one of my suggestion is also that maybe in the last semester, instead of only project report, for example, what our IITs and IIMs are already giving, some of the universities are also including this thing, especially in engineering or maybe MBA. The last semester is being for the practical training, maybe a project work or something like that. Another option that can be given to them is the startup also. I just explored in Switzerland. There's a university called Ecole in Lausanne, Ecole University. And this Ecole University, it is one of the world's leading hospitality management university, engineering, and they have all the branches. Okay. Now what they started, they did a pilot testing in one of their hospitality management segment. They said, okay, the last semester will be given to you for project work as well as second choices for startup. If you want to start your own business, maybe starting a small Airbnb or maybe a hotel or maybe a cafeteria or anything, any project type of thing, and you are getting yourself registered. So few students picked up that, okay, we will go for a startup. But they had an apprehension that, can it be, the semester is only for 6 or 5 months. Is it possible? But you won't believe, the university, they provided all the soft skills and they provided all other requirements that was there. For example, they connected the students with the chartered accountants, with the bankers, with the marketing people, and with the other industry people who came to their colleges. They just shared their practical experiences. They shared that how to get registered, how to sell your product, how to register yourself online, how to pay your taxes, etc., etc. So at one point of time, they were thinking or planning on their services or goods. At the same time, they were getting registered. And by the end of the semester, they got their startup started. And, they were given scores or credit marks for that part. So that was, they were given credit marks for that. But at the same time, the other advantage was that they had a startup. They had a startup along with that. Why can't this be, done in India also? Why can't we adopt the same model as a practical or experiential learning? Then another thing is that at a school level itself, the idea of being an entrepreneur should be inculcated in the brains of kids, that, okay, you become a doctor, you become an engineer, but you may be civil servant, but at the same time, you can also become this an entrepreneur also. And IB boards in India, some of the schools, many schools of IB boards, they have already introduced that in class 5th or 4th. The student, they are given some entrepreneurial activities practically in order to produce something, maybe virtual or maybe physical, and then you have to sell it to your fellows and maybe in your society, in your colony. They are given a training, a soft training. Sometimes, these schools, they organize a fete or fair, and all those students who are, ready or willing to provide the services or provide some goods, maybe edibles, maybe games, maybe something like that. They are taught how to earn money, and when they're earning money, then how to utilize that money or maybe reinvest the money, repay. And they're given a small practical assignment also. How will you pay taxes if you've earned so much? So they're sitting there. So, this can be included. And maybe some more things that you can create a very conducive environment at your colleges. And maybe some seminars, workshops can be planned at the colleges, university towards entrepreneurial development. Maybe you can invite guest lectures from the industry. Maybe you can call them for these things. Maybe you make your teaching more experiential, more practical. There should be more entrepreneurial ventures. There should be strong incubators, business incubators. Role model and case study competitions can also be done among the students, so that they pick up strong stories from the from the real life examples, and they present it in front of the class. Because you never know, if you're inviting an entrepreneur, an industrialist for a lecture or for motivational talk, you never know what clicks the raw mind of a student, and how he decides then and there that I want to become the same and I will be working in this direction. So many activities an entrepreneur needs to do. And what I'm discussing is what is very much practical, and it is happening in most of the developed countries, where they are teaching these things in a very, very practical way. And therefore, as Faiza ma'am mentioned just now about the SURE program that she said, I'll just mention a bit, I'll just discuss a bit about that. But before that, I would like to say that these experiential learning or maybe program have to be made a part of a curriculum. This is the SURE program, whose full form is Stimulating Urban Renewal Through Entrepreneurship. This program is run in the University of Houston, where I went to visit and I saw, and I was really impressed. Through this program, they are teaching their students entrepreneurship. And how they are teaching: under every student who opts for this paper, under every student, they place 2 or 3 people who want to become an entrepreneur. And those 2 or 3 people are the people from the underprivileged or underrepresented class. They are the engineering students, they are the medical students who want to go for their startups. And these it goes for 3 months, obviously, with one session every month. And during this session, we invite people from the industry, for example, chartered accountants, bankers, district commissioners from district industrial centers. There are industrialists who are invited. They are teaching. So this way we are, connecting. And for what happens to our students under whom we put these people to become entrepreneurs, they get an opportunity to transform their bookish knowledge or conception knowledge, into a practical learning. And they get the taste of that. Okay, suppose a person under one of the student, he wants to get registered at Udyam portal or at GEM portal, and this student is helping him from office to office to do so. So there what happens, these students are learning the practical hurdles, the problems, the challenges, the ease of doing business. And then he makes a mind that, yes, okay, when I'll be entering a market, these things I have to take care of. So this is a very, very rich program which we have signed. AMU has signed MOU with the university. And I'm running this program in the Department of Commerce here in AMU, where our commerce student, they are the students under whom we place the people who want to start their business. So this way we can help the students or the youth who is standing on the threshold to start a business. So with this, I would conclude that India, which has a very large demographically diverse population, its investment in science, technology, and innovation are not yet translating, into the desired growth reality. Things are more theoretical rather than practical. So once we realize that the innovation-led entrepreneurship development holds promise for growth, the government has taken, no doubt, major policy initiative, but its success, it still, depends on its implementation and executions. So, however, a new direction reflects a strong growth aspiration and resonates with the zeal and zest of the youth. who must be prepared for the adventurous path of innovation-based entrepreneurship. So we cannot say that it is impossible or it is not possible or it is difficult. No, if you make a mind and if you just show the direction to the youth, I think things will be um, good enough that more and more people or youth is being diverted towards entrepreneurship, and he becomes a job provider, giver in the economy, and helping others who are seeking job. So maybe they will be contributing in reducing the unemployment scenario that is existing at such a large portion or level. So that is all what I have to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Asiya. You're able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you so much. The session was very crisp and very informative. Thanks for being with us this evening. And thanks to all the participants for joining us. So we have one more session today, which will begin from 5:30. And this session is from Dr. Sajid Jamal from Aligarh Muslim University. So we can have an half an hour break, and then we need to join by 5:30 p.m. sharp. So that's for the day. Thank you very much, Dr. Asiya, once again.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So we have a separate link for Dr. Sajid Jamal. Please use the link and join the session. Thank you.